They told us luxury meant safety, that if you spent six figures on a car covered in chrome and comfort, you were untouchable, wrapped in armor, protected by German engineering and Swedish precision. But what if that was a lie? In the latest truck crash simulations, cars worth $40,000 to $200,000 crumpled like soda cans. Volvos, Mercedes, BMWs, the names everyone trusts, failed so badly that the test dummies registered injuries you wouldn't survive. According to the IIHS, underride crashes, when a car slides under a truck, kill more than 300 people every single year in the US, and yet the very brands promising bulletproof safety can't handle it. This isn't about some obscure economy car. We're talking Maybachs, Range Rovers, and Lexus SUVs, the machines celebrities flaunt and families finance for peace of mind. But in reality, that peace of mind is built on marketing, not metal. Over the next few minutes, we're pulling back the curtain on 13 cars that failed miserably when hit from behind by a truck. You'll see shattered windshields, collapsed roofs, airbags that never fired, and seatbelts that betrayed the people who trusted them. And just when you think every luxury brand is doomed, we'll reveal two shockingly underrated cars that did survive. Proof that real safety has nothing to do with the badge on your grille. So buckle up, because what you're about to see will change how you look at premium cars forever. It's the status symbol of the decade, the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, or as influencers call it, the G-Wagon. Celebrities drive it, billionaires buy it for their kids, and it's marketed like a tank on wheels. Starting around $150,000, it's supposed to make you feel untouchable. But here's the ugly truth. When the G-Wagon faced a simple rear-end crash with a stationary truck, it folded like paper. No, this wasn't some fiery high-speed stunt. It was a controlled test, the kind of impact that could happen in everyday traffic. And the results were horrifying. The hood crumpled instantly, the windshield shattered, and the front structure collapsed so violently that the test dummy suffered lethal head trauma in what should have been a survivable crash. What makes it worse is how confidently Mercedes sells this car. The G-Wagon is all sharp angles, military DNA, and marketing buzzwords about uncompromising safety. But beneath that image lies a structural weakness that can turn a fender bender into a fatality. The test showed no underride protection, no reinforced bumper, just decorative chrome and false confidence. That's not armor, that's theater. And here's the painful irony. Most buyers pay that premium price because they believe they're buying safety. They think Mercedes equals trust. But in this test, that trust shattered right along with the windshield. Luxury badges don't stop physics, and if the G-Wagon, the so-called fortress on wheels, couldn't protect its passengers in a moderate crash, what does that say about the rest of the luxury lineup? Because as bad as this looks for Mercedes, the next SUV on the list might be even more shocking, a family favorite that hides a dangerous secret. If there's one SUV that screams reliability and safety, it's the Lexus RX 350. It's everywhere, in suburban driveways, school pickup lines, and luxury car ads showing smiling families cruising through perfect neighborhoods. Smooth ride? Check quiet cabin? Check reputation for safety? That's what Lexus wants you to believe. But when crash tests told the truth, things got dark. During the IIHS rear underride simulation, the RX 350 exposed a terrifying weakness, one that puts every rear passenger in serious danger. The dummy in the back seat suffered severe chest and head injuries, the kind of trauma that could be fatal in a real collision. Why? Because Lexus engineered this SUV with all its focus on the front, packed with airbags, radar sensors, and reinforcements. But the back seat, it's basically an afterthought. There was no dedicated side airbag for the rear passenger's chest. The seatbelt failed to tighten properly, and the dummy's head slammed into the front seat with brutal force. That single moment exposed a harsh truth. Lexus built a car that protects the driver's ego more than the family in the back. And the worst part? Parents buy this SUV because they think it's the safest option for their kids. This is where image becomes dangerous. A sleek badge and soft leather don't stop kinetic energy. So while Lexus markets serenity and comfort, the data shows chaos and collapse. If the RX 350, one of America's top-selling family luxury SUVs, can't protect a child in the back seat, what hope is there for the others? But the disappointment doesn't stop with Lexus, because the next car isn't just known for safety. It's literally marketed as the safest car brand on earth. And when it failed, the entire industry took notice. If there's one car brand built entirely on the promise of safety, it's Volvo. For decades, they've been the industry's moral compass. The company that invented the seatbelt, built cars that could roll off cliffs and keep you alive, and turned Swedish engineering into a synonym for trust. But that reputation just took a hit, because when the Volvo S60 faced modern crash tests, the results shocked everyone, even the engineers. During the moderate overlap crash test focused on rear seat safety, the S60 performed like a tale of two cars. The front half? Excellent. The frame held up, the airbags worked, the driver would likely walk away. But the rear seat? That's where Volvo's legendary safety completely fell apart. The dummy in the back showed severe chest compression and rapid head acceleration, a brutal whiplash effect caused by a seatbelt that didn't tighten in time. The head whipped forward, smashed into the front seat, and rolled sideways, the exact motion that leads to brain or spinal trauma in real life. Even more alarming, the roof structure deformed far more than expected, compromising survival space. In a crash like this, the person in the back, maybe your kid, your spouse, your coworker, wouldn't stand a chance. For years, Volvo sold itself as the gold standard of safety. But this test revealed something uncomfortable. Marketing slogans can't save lives. And if Volvo, the world's safety icon, can fail a test this badly, no brand is immune. This result left safety experts stunned, because if the most trusted name in car safety is slipping, what happens when we move up the price ladder to a car that costs nearly 4 times as much? You'd think spending hundreds of thousands would buy perfection. But the next luxury sedan proves that even money can't protect you when the engineering goes wrong. You'd think that if you spent over $200,000 on a luxury car, you'd be buying more than leather seats and prestige. You'd be buying safety. But the Mercedes Maybach S480 proves that price doesn't equal protection. It's the kind of car you expect world leaders to ride in. Silent, armored, untouchable. Except it's not. When the Maybach faced a real-world crash test, the front pillar, the car's structural backbone, collapsed inward, slamming into the test dummy's head. To make things worse, the curtain airbag on the passenger side never deployed. That's not a minor glitch. That's a fatal flaw. In a crash like this, even a moderate impact could lead to severe brain trauma or death, especially for passengers in the back, which, ironically, is where Maybach expects you to sit. This is supposed to be a car for the elite, for CEOs, diplomats, the ultra-rich, and yet the people in the rear, the ones chauffeured in comfort, are sitting in the most dangerous spot in the entire vehicle. Mercedes nailed the luxury. They forgot the safety. But they're not alone, because the next badge on this list, BMW, made the exact same mistake. The BMW X5, the ultimate luxury family SUV, was meant to blend performance and protection. Instead, it delivered a wake-up call. In crash tests, both the driver and passenger zones suffered severe cabin intrusion, meaning the metal frame folded inward, crushing the survival space. The A-pillar collapsed, the floor buckled, and sensors registered potentially fatal head and chest injuries. The rear wasn't spared either. The dummy in the back seat endured massive chest pressure and a violent whiplash that twisted the neck to a breaking point. And this isn't theoretical. One real-world crash victim described the X5 folding like a soda can. For a vehicle that costs north of $60,000, that's unacceptable and terrifying. Both the Maybach and X5 reveal the same ugly truth. Luxury marketing is a mask. These cars are engineered for image, not impact. They sell you confidence, not protection. Because when the airbags fail, when the pillars collapse, when the steel folds under stress, your $200,000 badge means nothing. And if you thought Mercedes and BMW were the worst offenders, the next test proves that even more expensive SUVs can perform catastrophically, turning luxury into liability. When people buy luxury SUVs, they're not just buying a vehicle, they're buying security. They picture themselves cocooned in steel and leather, surrounded by advanced safety systems and cutting-edge design. But if the Mercedes-Benz GLC and Range Rover prove anything, it's that prestige can give you a false sense of safety, one that could get you killed. Let's start with the Mercedes GLC, the smaller sibling to the G-Wagon. On paper, it's refined, elegant, and family-ready. In reality, it's a disaster in disguise. During crash simulations, the GLC's roof deformed, the side doors buckled, and the rear cabin collapsed like a crushed soda can. Inside, the crash dummy showed severe chest and head trauma, the kind that ends lives, not just trips airbags. Why? Because the side airbags didn't deploy fast enough, and the seatbelts allowed too much movement. That means in a real collision, you're hitting your head, your ribs, and your future, all at once. The worst part? This isn't a sports car or a high-risk vehicle. This is a family SUV. Parents use it for school drop-offs, road trips, and grocery runs, trusting the Mercedes badge to protect what matters most. But when it came time to prove it, the GLC folded, literally and figuratively. The same brand that boasts the best or nothing delivered nothing when it mattered most. And if that wasn't enough to shake your trust, the Range Rover will. Because what happened to it wasn't just a failure, it was a catastrophe. In the truck crash test, the Range Rover's roof completely caved in. The upper frame collapsed under impact pressure so severely that the rear roof buckled inward, crushing the survival zone for both front and rear passengers. The front passenger airbag tore apart mid-deployment, leaving the dummy's head to slam directly into the trailer. That's not a malfunction. That's a death sentence. And remember, this is one of the most expensive SUVs on the planet, a symbol of power and status. Yet the very thing that gives it prestige, its tall stance and heavy build, makes it even more dangerous in certain crashes. A higher center of gravity means a greater chance of rollover. And when that happens, this so-called luxury fortress becomes a rolling coffin. The Range Rover sells you power. Mercedes sells you confidence. But in a crash, both sell you false hope. Because the truth is, 6 figures won't save you when the engineering fails. And if you think the failures stop with luxury, think again. The next vehicles are the ones you see every day. They're not status symbols. They're the cars families across America trust the most. And yet, the results are even scarier. If you thought the safety issues were limited to 6-figure cars, think again. Because what comes next isn't about luxury, it's about trust. These are the vehicles everyday Americans drive. Family SUVs, grocery getters, commuter rides, cars that fill school parking lots and highways across the country. And yet, when they faced real truck crash tests, the results were terrifying. Let's start with the Ford Expedition, a beast of an SUV that's supposed to protect like a tank. Except in testing, it did the opposite. The front frame split apart, the A-pillars separated from the body, and the entire cabin collapsed by over 50 centimeters. That's not a dent. That's a demolition. The driver dummy's head slipped off the airbag, leaving it exposed to hard impact with the crushed dashboard. For a vehicle marketed to families, that's a horror show on 4 wheels. Then comes the Chevrolet Tahoe, another American favorite, big, powerful, and built to last. But during the same crash series, the passenger side caved in so badly that the survival space nearly disappeared. Up to 32 centimeters of intrusion in the lower section, 18 up top, enough to pin your legs under the dash. The result? Broken bones, crushed feet, long-term disability on the safe side of the car. Meanwhile, the driver's side performed better, meaning General Motors reinforced half the structure and left the other half to fail. Half protection for full price. Japan doesn't escape this list either. The Nissan Rogue, one of the most common SUVs on American roads, failed to protect both front and rear passengers. The front airbags didn't deploy properly, the structure folded inward, and some models even showed signs of unintended acceleration and brake failure during separate safety investigations. That's not a glitch. That's a pattern of neglect. Next up, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, a name that's supposed to mean rugged reliability. But the truth? It's consistently ranked one of the worst in safety and reliability by consumer studies. In crash tests, airbags misfired, side structures caved in, and the survival cage collapsed like it was made of tin. It looks like a protector, but in reality, it's a trap. And then there's the shocker, the Honda CR-V, the family favorite, the symbol of reliability. But in truck impact simulations, its roof caved, its front frame buckled, and the rear structure disintegrated. The crash dummy's head slammed into hard surfaces, recording forces that would cause life-threatening injuries. For millions of families, that's not just disappointing, it's terrifying. Finally, the one that broke hearts, the Toyota RAV4, America's best-selling vehicle. Beloved for dependability, trusted for safety, until the latest test. In the updated moderate overlap crash, the RAV4 dropped from a good rating to marginal. The rear dummy's head moved outside the side curtain airbag, meaning the system couldn't even keep the passenger protected inside the vehicle. That's the kind of failure that kills in real crashes. So think about it. The brands we trust most, the badges we see every day, the cars we buy to protect our families, are failing when it matters most. And if the cars we can afford can't protect us, and the luxury cars we can't afford won't protect us either, is anything really safe anymore? Maybe. Because buried beneath all these failures were a few shocking survivors, cars that cost less, but performed better than the million-dollar names. And that twist is where hope makes a comeback. After all those failures, you'd think every car on the road is a rolling death trap. But here's the twist. A few unexpected names did hold their ground. And they weren't luxury giants or six-figure status symbols. They were the quiet achievers, the cars almost no one expected to survive. First up, the Hyundai Elantra. A car most people overlook as basic, boring, or budget. But when the crash data came in, the Elantra made luxury brands look like amateurs. During frontal impacts, its cabin stayed intact, its frame absorbed energy exactly as designed, and its side impact resistance ranked among the best in its class. While BMWs and Mercedes were folding under pressure, the Elantra stayed composed. And it doesn't stop there. Hyundai equipped it with forward collision avoidance, lane keeping assist, and automatic braking as standard. In other words, it doesn't just protect you after a crash, it helps you avoid one altogether. That's smart engineering, not luxury marketing. But the real king of this test? Tesla Model 3. Sleek, silent, and surprisingly indestructible. During both front and side collision tests, the Model 3's passenger cabin remained almost completely untouched. Its battery pack sits low, reinforcing the underbody and lowering the center of gravity, meaning far less risk of rollover. And the fears about EV fire risk? Tesla's reinforced battery housing makes those cases almost non-existent. The result is a car that blends tech, performance, and protection better than vehicles twice its price. For all the jokes people make about Tesla fanboys, this one earned its praise. So what does that tell us? It means safety doesn't have a logo. It doesn't care how much you paid, what badge is on your grill, or how glossy your paint looks under showroom lights. Real safety comes from engineering, not ego. The next time a commercial tells you a car is built to protect, ask to see the footage. Ask to see the numbers. Because the truth is out there, buried in crash data most automakers hope you'll never read. And if you thought these tests were brutal, wait until you see what happened in the Moose test. The one where cars have to swerve at high speed to avoid a sudden obstacle. Some of the world's top-selling SUVs failed that one so badly, it's almost unbelievable. That's next. And trust me, you'll never look at your car the same way again. If this video opened your eyes, that's exactly why we made it. Because when it comes to cars, the truth isn't in the commercial, it's in the crash test. And now you know. A shiny badge doesn't guarantee your safety. Engineering does. So the next time you see a luxury SUV flexing in a music video or a commercial, bragging about 5-star safety, remember this. Some of those same cars failed when it mattered most. Meanwhile, a Hyundai and a Tesla quietly outperformed them all. If you value your life, or the people riding with you, dig deeper. Don't buy the brand, buy the build. And if you thought these crash results were wild, you haven't seen anything yet. Because in our next video, we're exposing how some of the world's most popular cars failed the Moose test, the high-speed swerve challenge that simulates avoiding a sudden obstacle. What happens when these cars try to dodge danger at full speed will shock you even more. So before you scroll away, subscribe, turn on the bell, and watch the next video right here. Because once you see how these safe cars actually handle in real life, you'll never drive the same way again.